Okay, the report on the monthly financial results for August of 2019. B, would you take it away, please? Is B around?
Doug Anderson,
Okay,
Manager
Doug.
of Budget and Analysis. I'll be presenting the August results.
Thanks, Doug.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. Today I'm presenting the year-to-date financial results through August. Ridership and operating revenue are both still unfavorable to budget, but expense performance continues to be very good. The regional recovery ratio climbed further and finished the month 0.7 points favorable to budget at 50.9%. System ridership in August was 2.9% lower than prior year and about 1% below budget, very consistent with recent months. Year-to-date ridership remains down 3.1% from 2018. Back on the summary table, each service board continues to record unfavorable ridership results. Pace's shortfall exceeded 3%, highlighted in red, with all three modes, fixed route, dial-a-ride, and van pool down 6% to 7% from 2018 levels. In total, the system is 7.8 million rides unfavorable to budget. Operating revenue was $13.7 million, or 1.7% unfavorable to budget. About $11 million, or 80% of the shortfall, can be attributed to the lower level of reduced fare reimbursement from the state. Pace operating revenue is 4.9% unfavorable, highlighted in red, due primarily to lower than budgeted fare revenue caused by the ridership shortfall. The public funding section of the dashboard shows that results are 2.3% below budget, improved from last month's report due to strong July sales tax results. Sales tax remains below budget, however, as do PTF and RET receipts. CTA's public funding was $19.3 million, or 3.6% unfavorable to budget, highlighted in red, due to underperforming sales tax, PTF, and lagging real estate transfer tax results. Based on input from the CTA, however, we do expect 2019 RET results to strengthen versus budget in the coming months. Year-to-date operating expenses were $51.7 million, or 2.8% favorable to budget, with all three service boards and ADA Paratransit reporting favorable results. August expense results were notably strong at 4.5% favorable to budget. Metra's results were 3.5% favorable, highlighted in light blue due to favorability in all expense categories except insurance and claims. Pace's results were 4.3% favorable, also highlighted due to favorability in all categories except the ADA Paratransit overhead allocation. At the regional level, favorable expenses more than offset the unfavorable revenue and public funding, producing a net result which was $14.7 million favorable to budget, an improvement of $9.3 million from last month's result. Metra and ADA Paratransit recorded net results favorable by more than 3%, driven by strong expense performance. Through August, the regional recovery ratio of 50.9% is favorable to budget by 0.7 percentage points, solidly above the 50% statutory requirement. The fare revenue recovery ratio of 36.1% and the all revenue recovery ratio of 42.5% were both lower than prior year, as expenses have increased versus 2018 while operating revenues are down slightly. In the right section, the CTA and PACE recovery ratios are essentially at budget, and Metra's recovery ratio is 2.7 points above budget due to both favorable revenue and favorable expense performance. In summary, the service board's expense performance through August continues to offset the effects of ridership and revenue shortfalls. The regional recovery ratio continues to extend above the 50% level, with 4 months of results remaining. That concludes my remarks. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Doug, for that report. Are there any questions or comments? Yeah, Director Lewis.
B, I was wondering, if you look at the lines for, we've been able to perform because they've been able to cut their expenses, and so there's no saying you can't cut your way to success. So is there a calculation where we look at what point do the lines cross? You can only cut your expenses so far without raising revenues from ridership, and that point's going to occur at some juncture. So is that something we look at, or the service boards look at relative to this particular dynamic?
It's an excellent question. Of course, there was a fare increase in 2018 by all the service boards, no fare increase in 19, so our budgeted recovery ratio decreased because of that. And in 2020, we're also looking at no fare increases, so the ratio will be budgeted above 50%, but there'll be a little less of a cushion because revenues are essentially flat and expenses are continuing to increase every year. So we've gotten to that point over a couple of years.
Doug did a 10-year analysis where it showed not only, and I think we presented it here at one point, but we showed not only what fares needed to go up by, but also ridership and so forth. It was like the 3 lines. And it showed at what point we're breaking even and then we're going down. So maybe it's time to refresh that and share that again. Or as part of the budget process, we'll do that.
Yeah, I think that'd be helpful because it's inescapable. It's going to happen.
Right.
And we may as well, I think, if I recall before, we actually lobbied with some of the service boards to look at fare increases, the only option to really make that calculus work in the right way.
And this analysis shows what they have to go up by, and some of it is not realistic and not affordable. However, it does show exactly what you need to go up by in order to continue to meet the recovery ratio and break even. Thank you.
Just to follow up on that question, I think, Doug, you mentioned that some information you've got from the CTA is encouraging for the rest of the year or for the next months?
That was specifically on the RET results. They've been struggling under budget all year. CTA got some advance notice that specifically the August RET will be about $8 million. Typically, it's about $5 million per month, or $60 million for the year. We've been waiting for a good month to sort of get us back up to the budgeted level, and that's going to come in August. We just haven't reflected that here yet because we don't have the official notification.
Okay, good, thank you. And just to be clear, these are numbers that are matched against the seasonally adjusted budget numbers, right? Yeah.
Correct.
Right, okay. Thanks. Are there any other questions, comments? Anyone? Thank you very much. Yeah, yes, Chris.
So just testing, so these are all against budget. I think what you said is year on year costs are going up.
Year on year what?
So the cost, if we look at the trend year on year, costs are going up. What we're looking at here is a variance to budget.
Correct.
Is that right?
Correct.
Correct. Costs are up 1.6% for the year to date versus 2019. So that's very typical. Once the budget's adopted, what's relevant is comparing to the budget, which is what we do here.
Great, thank you. Thank you for that question. Any other questions, comments, thoughts? Okay. Thank you very much. Are there any, is there any other business to come before the public session of the Finance Committee? If not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn and a second. Director Groven moves. Director Trioni seconds. A roll call, please.
Roll call?
Do we need it?
No.
Yeah.
You can do a voice or a leave or.
Great. We stand adjourned. Thank you very much.
Good morning. We are moving along in rapid fashion, which is nice. So I will call the regular meeting of the full Board of Directors of the Regional Transportation Authority